What are you doing? Where are you going off to? Where are you running off to? Oh, Stinky. Oh, I smell Stinky. I smell something. I don't know what, but I definitely smell something. Huh? You exercising? Huh? What you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you running a marathon? Yes, you are. Nana's watching. You've really been moving yourself around. Uh-huh. Nana has you going this way. I come back and you're completely the other way. Yeah? Oh, yeah. 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 You use those legs. Use those legs. It's good to use those legs. Yes, it is. It's good to use those legs. Huh? Use those legs. Use those legs. Oh, your legs are getting stronger. Your legs are getting stronger. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yeah. You're going to bounce off the bed here. No. Gotta pencil you in. Yeah. You can kick it up a storm. He takes it very serious. This is what I want to show the doctor. No hip surgery for you. No way. You're using your hips. Yeah, you're bouncing. You're getting your body right up off the bed. He's like, woo, woo, woo. Yes, you are. Woo, woo, woo. Oh, he loves this. You love this. You like doing this. I don't know what it's going to be like when you get bigger. I always say I'm going to have to get you a king-size bed. Nana's going to have to get you a king-size bed. You can bounce around on that. Yeah. King-size bed for you. Yeah, it's in the works. Be bouncing on that king-size bed. Yeah, exercise those legs. Exercise those legs. Come on, you can do it. Come on. Come on. What you doing? You kicking? There you go. There you go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. You're getting stronger. More and more. More and more. Yes, you are. You're getting stronger. Much more stronger. Yes, you are. Oh, he just loves it. He just does. Oh, yes, he does. Yes, he does. Oh, yes, he does. you. Yeah. Okay, so it's April 27th, 2021. We're going to keep this short. I got my response back from the government people. Can you see? Okay. Right here. Do you see? Okay. This first page, they gave me double copy. It came in regular mail. I thought they had to do everything by registered mail, but I guess not. Anyway, it's just a response. They wrote it on April 22nd, 2021. Regard Judy Chorney versus Her Majesty the Queen in right of the Province of British Columbia as represented by the Ministry of Attorney General and Ministry of Public Safety and Solicitor General, Supreme Court, British Columbia, number 226898, New Westminster Registry. We enclosed for service. Again, I don't know, people, all right? This is why they do it. Because they know that people like me don't know how to fight back. Okay? Because we can't afford lawyers, right? No way am I going to get $50,000. As a matter of fact, there's this fella who's been fighting for his 14-year-old daughter who was manipulated through the school system to go into a sex change, like changing gender. She's 14. And he's been fighting in court to stop it because they're using experimental drugs on her and they want to cut off her breasts. And she's 14 years old, people. Because somehow, some way, they've convinced her that she's a boy, right? Through their counseling. Anyway, he's been fighting for a long, long time. And he's kind of retracted from what I just recently heard because they locking him up for 6 months, right? And he's already spent time in jail fighting for his daughter, right? And he raised like over $56,000. Yeah, something like $56,000. $56,000 he raised for, for whatever, for this, what he was doing to try and prevent his daughter from basically being mutilated at an early age, right? And the judge that wants to lock him up for 6 months, on top of everything else that they've already done to this guy, is taking that money away. It's done through a GoFundMe, and he's saying it should be donated to someplace else. Like, I'm like, what, now they're stealing GoFundMe money through court? Right? He had a lawyer. Why shouldn't that money be going to the lawyer? Right? It was to help fight for his daughter. Anyway, we know I can't get $50,000, right? And the government knows it too. We enclosed for service 2 filed copies of the response of civil claim filed on behalf of the defendants, Her Majesty the Queen in right of the Province of British Columbia, as represented by the Ministry of Attorney General and the Ministry of Public Safety and Solicitor General. So I guess what they're saying is they filed for the Ministry of Attorney General and they filed for the Public Safety and Solicitor General. That's what I'm thinking, okay? Please acknowledge service by signing and returning the enclosed duplicate copy of this letter at your earliest convenience. I don't know who I'm supposed to send this copy to. Please acknowledge service. Okay, they're being polite to me, but wait till you hear how they treat me. So they give me a letter. Okay. All right, and I'm supposed to sign it. I don't know what I'm signing, but I'm supposed to sign it. So I'm going to have to go back to the courthouse. I have to make an appointment, people, to go into the library. We enclosed... Okay, that's the same one. So, service of the copy hereof admitted this day of Judy Lynn Chorney, the plaintiff. So I guess I'm supposed to sign this and send it back to somebody or put it in the court that I received this. That's what I'm thinking. I was expecting something in registered mail, but I didn't get that. So what, do I sign that and put it in an envelope with just a regular stamp and send it back to the province? Or do I take this and go to the courthouse and submit it there? Right? Do you see how easy it is for them to exploit people? You know what, people? At least I've done it. Okay? No matter what. I've been towing the line, right? For a long, long time. And that takes a lot of courage. Okay? A lot of courage. All right? And then they've got it. They took it to the registry. So it's in the registry. Okay? We know that. Okay? In the Supreme Court of British Columbia, between Judy Lynn Chorney, plaintiff, and Her Majesty the Queen, as represented by the Ministry of Attorney General, Minister of Public Safety, and Solicitor General. Response to civil claim. Okay, I'm going to read this now. Filed by it's like only 2 pages or something. Her Majesty the Queen in right of the Province of British Columbia, as represented by the Ministry of Attorney General and the Ministry of Public Safety and Solicitor General, the province. Part 1. Response to notice of civil claim. Facts. Okay? Division 1. Province's response to facts. Okay, now you have to remember, they haven't done no fact checks. They haven't gone into no files, obviously. They haven't dug into anything. They haven't pulled up Uncle John's files, right? You know, they didn't get into ShaMay's medical files. Nothing, people, nothing. They didn't go into Amari's files. They didn't go into Andre's files. And if they did, they're just ignoring it because they don't want to take any responsibility for the harm and the injury that they repeatedly caused upon this family, okay? 1. The facts alleged in all paragraphs in that 19-page notice of civil claim. All paragraphs, that's what they say here, of Part 1 of the notice of civil claim are denied. Okay? It's that simple for them, people. They can just say, nope, didn't happen. Fuck off. Division 2, province's version of facts. Okay? This is the province's versions of facts. How would they know what the facts are if they haven't investigated them, people? The notice of civil claim contains no averment of facts. I don't know what averment means. I'll have to look it up, okay? That could support a reasonable cause of action against the province. Here, let's look up averment. Okay? They obviously didn't look into anything, did they? An affirmation or allegation. The notice of civil claim contains no allegation of facts. The notice of civil claim contains no affirmation of facts. Well, how would they know that, people? They haven't done any fact checks. They haven't gotten into any files. They haven't pulled up anything that could support a reasonable cause of action against the province. They're just broad sweeping. 3, Division 3, additional facts. The proper designation of the defendants collectively referred herein as the province is Her Majesty the Queen in right of the province of British Columbia, pursuant to Section 7 of the Crown Proceedings. Now we're going into Crown Proceeding Act. What the hell? I have to now Google that and print that out, people. Okay, pursuant to Section 7. Do you see how easy it is for them to use their legislation against us? But when we call them on their legislation and we hold them to account to their legislation that they don't follow through their employees, they ignore it. I told you, this is what they did with Uncle John, right? All those mandates, rules, regulations, they didn't mean nothing. Just words. It's just words on paper because they're going to do what they're going to want to do anyway. They ignore it. Why like I said, why aren't they pulling up Uncle John's files? Why aren't they tallying up how much it costed people to keep Uncle John locked up like a dirty secret for 4 months while they were figuring out how to steal his money? Why don't they do that before they come back and write this to me? So, anyway, Her Majesty, okay, the proper designation of the defendants collectively referred herein as the province. So I didn't designate them correctly in terms of the Attorney General and the Solicitor Attorney General, because somehow it goes into the Her Majesty the Queen in right of the province of British Columbia, pursuant to Section 7 of the Crown Proceeding Act 1996 C89. I'll have to print that out. Waste more paper and ink. Okay? It's $65 to buy this, people. I go through these like water. Part 2, response of relief sought, okay? The province opposes the granting of all relief sought in Part 2 of the Notice of Civil Claim. What? They're not going to go into Uncle John's lawsuit with Fraser Health Authority and CIBC Bank and just let those notices of civil claim sit in the court registry, never to be settled, people? Never, ever to be completely fucking settled, but except buried. They're just burying it. They never settled it. Sending me to the cops isn't settling a notice of civil claim. Right? Not acknowledging CIBC Bank, not acknowledging what Fraser Health Authority did in order for CIBC Bank to be able to do what it did is not settling, okay? Is not being fair in a court of law when they don't acknowledge the criminal activity around the health authority. Because the bank benefited from what the health authority did to Uncle John because they got an extra, tax saving. Eleanor took John's whatever money and put it into a shadow account, people. Right? The bank manager showed it to me, people. He didn't show me how much was in it, but he showed me that after John disappeared, another account just suddenly materialized and went on freaking lockdown. Okay? Because they were funneling money. They were laundering John's money while John was under heavy sedation for months. Crying to come home to the kids and me as the staff were running around saying, "No, you can't. You're not well enough yet. You know that, John. have it on tape. Why doesn't the government investigate that, people? Legal basis. Part 3. The notice of civil claim. A disclosure. No reasonable claim or cause of action against the province. Just a play on words, people. They copied and pasted. That's what they did. They went to their computer and they copied and pasted the majority of this letter to make it into a letter with a few key, inserts, right? To try and personalize it, okay? But this is just a basic copy and paste, all right? This is how they respond to their constituency. B is, I told you they were going to do this because it's written right into their court rules, okay? B is unnecessary, okay. Scandalous, okay. Frivolous, okay. Or vexatious, okay. Yeah, we knew that they were going to pull that card, right? C is plurific. I brought it down to 19 pages, people. All right? Okay? It's pretty complicated, considering that we're going back to 2003, and that's at least as far back as, well, it should really go back to 1999 with my medical records, and then 2003 when they cut me off of social services within 9 months before the legislation came in, which was illegal and which was retracted. Okay? They don't want to go dig deep into those files. Instead, they just want to sit there and say, no, what I wrote in those 19 pages, even though it's a lifetime of misery, it was plurific. Fucking right, it was plurific. It's still plurific. Look what they're doing to our society now, people. Incomprehensible. What, you can't comprehend that your hospital staffs are using public tax dollars to illegally embalm bodies to pass them off as if they're alive after their bodies and their teeth have been pillaged? That's being prolific and incomprehensible? No, that was pretty to the point, people. Rambling. Well, now they added in the word rambling. Okay? And embarrassing. Well, to who? Them? Not to me, people. No, this is my family. Okay, this is my family that the government gets up on their podium and talk about how they're trying to invest over $500 million. As a matter of fact, over $1 billion. I can pull it up and I can show you how they're investing over $1 billion into families. Okay, when have I heard this before? Wait till the BC Liberal government gets back in. That $1 billion is going to go down the tubes. And all those families that were supposedly being helped are going to be, many of them are going to be wiped out. Okay, because that's how they do it. They come in with the NDP. They make it sound like they're going to do all this great stuff with all this money. You know, help families with this, help families, help kids, help troubled youth, help. You know, they want to help so much that you want to get in there and you want to help them. You want to help them to help. Right? And then when you go out there and you actually take the foot forward and you try and build something to help them make a better community, all they have to do is bring in a different party, people, and wipe it all out. And then start targeting families and pick them off one by one to decimate families. So that after it's all said and done, and they've made millions and billions of dollars of pillaging organs and pillaging teeth and pillaging families and God knows what else, that they're old people for their money, right? Then they come in with that old okie dokie party. Oh, well, we're investing $1.5 billion into families. Yeah, okay. Don't talk to me about investing $1.5 billion into families and how you're helping the province of British Columbia, Canada, when you sit up there and you accuse me of being a prolific, incomprehensible, rambling, and embarrassing individual. I'm not embarrassed, people. I'm not embarrassed. I will never be embarrassed for standing up for my family. Because my family's life is on the line, no matter how much money these individuals pump into their systems. Their systems. Because as soon as they pump the money in, they come along with a new party and they pull it out from underneath the fucking rug. And then they come back and build back better 15, 20 years later, hoping that everybody forgot. No, I've documented it, people. Yeah, maybe it's not the English that you like to read, but at the end of the day, they have done absolutely nothing except copy and paste a bunch of words and then threw in something like rambling and embarrassing to try and hurt my feelings. Is an abuse of the process of the court. I paid $200. I paid $200, $400. I've paid $600 already just to register these things. $200 with CIBC Bank. $200 with Uncle John with Fraser Health Authority. $200 for this. Okay, I'm a poor person. That's not including all the ink and paper and everything else that I've paid trying to do this stuff, people. Okay? As they're sitting on billions of dollars, leading the public down the old okie dokie path, how they're going to help families. Yeah, okay, help families. No, they're not helping families. They're helping their legion. That's what they're doing. They're helping their union. They're going to set up a whole lot of families to fail like my family. Is confusing as to make it impossible. No, there's nothing impossible about it, because if they went into the files, they would see that whatever I wrote, there's a correlation to verify that what I say is true. But they don't want to go into the files because they don't want to see the truth, people. It's confusing as to make it impossible for the province to respond. So they throw in the word impossible, so therefore it becomes right. Is that it? Is that how it works? Just throw in the word impossible? Nothing is impossible, people. Okay? For the province to respond to it in any meaningful way, and therefore it is contrary to the Supreme Court civil rules. Registry 168-209. So when I get to court, the judge is going to so-called give me my freebie, ask me to write everything down to 7 fucking pages, while the province will come in with their case law that's about that thick. I already have the binders. I can pull them out. I can show you what Fraser Health Authority did, people. They will mock me. They will falsify their fucking records. And then they'll throw it out. And then when I go and try and appeal it, I'll come into the same judge that argued, called me frivolous, whatever, and then will try and send me to the crooked cops. And then I'll file another one for Ciera. Because I do believe Ciera was in a snuff movie. And this just tells me more and more and more that I'm leaning in the right direction. Okay? As you got fucking humanoids that, you know, when you put them under exposure, they look like ghosts with little computer chips in their hair. Right? Why doesn't the government investigate that? Oh, because, right? It's too real. That's why. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about it this morning. I never thought about it before, people, but you know, when Ciera's hand was behind the door, it didn't look discolored. It didn't look dead. You know why? Why didn't they want me to identify my own daughter's body? I was there with my kids. Why did they keep us out on the porch for over an hour and a half? And then lied to us and sent us away, telling us that we can come back and identify her before they moved her because they were investigating. Why doesn't the government investigate that? What do I have to do? Write a fucking petition and go out in the streets and stand there and try and get people to sign it and then send it back to the government? They obviously punked off every signature that was on that lawsuit. Every signature, 1,505 signatures, they punked off, people. Acted like it didn't exist any more than they're acting like this doesn't exist.
Oh, I'm rambling. Is that it? I'm an embarrassment to myself. Well, of course, that's how devil worshippers fucking work. They like to flip the switch, right? Anything that's good, make it look bad. Anything that's bad, make it look good, right? So the government is good, right? Because they're giving $1.5 billion through their budgets into families to build back better and give better support to families. Yeah, okay. Why? Why do you have to give all this money to families after 16 years of bullshit? Why? I mean, right? Why is there such a need? Because you know there was 16 years of fucking bullshit that hasn't gone away. You're just smoothing it over so people can forget for a while. That's what they're doing, people. And then that's when they come in and they blindside families. Well, the families that have money, you know, they're just like, well, we got money, we're safe, you know, we're better, right? You know, we're untouchable. We live in the big houses. I wonder why. Some of those families, why do they live in those big houses, people? Because they participate in illegal activity and through laundering of money through various venues, to which the government doesn't want to do anything about because it's big business. Defendant's address for service. Okay. See, I can't sign this and then just simply mail it back to them because I don't know what that means. Do I sign my right away? In terms of if I sign this, I agree with their rhetoric, and then it just gets logged into the notice of civil claim and it disappears and I just become a bigger target to the government through their legion of employees that have vendettas. That's just rambling. That's just my imagination station. Even though I have the documented history of the ongoing targeting of my family, to which if the government actually did an investigation, they would see how the dots lined up. But they don't want to take any responsibility for that because they're too busy building in that structure to continue on with that process with other families as they're fooling the public into thinking that $1.5 billion is going to make the community safe when it comes to their budget. Okay, and then, so they got it on April 21st, 21. Okay, whatever. Rule 711 of the Supreme Court Civil Rules states, unless all parties of record consent or the court otherwise orders, each party of record to an action must, within 35 days after the end of the pleading period. See, this is where I get confused, people. Prepare a list of documents in Form 22 that lists all documents that are or have been in the party's possession. I haven't finished my document list, people, because there's too much information. I don't want to go in there with all these documents lists and then they'll really be saying I'm rambling because they're not going to want to take the time to even look at one page. Never mind hundreds of pages. So I figured the judge should be specific in terms of what it is I should be gathering up. Like, do I have to photocopy legislation and give the government a copy of the legislation in comparison to the legislation that I have in terms of evidence when it comes to, you know, this section under the Criminal Code of Canada, or this section under the Patient Property Act, or this section under the Power of Attorney Act, or this section under the Guardianship and Adult Act, or this section under the Hospital Act, or, you right? Like, do I have to have a photocopy of all those acts, rules, and regulations and hand it over to the government as evidence in terms of documents? Or do I just write down that this is where we need to look under this section, you know, on the internet through the Queen's printer, right, to verify that what I'm saying is a breach on behalf of what those employees were or were not doing. Whether it related to Amari, whether it related to ShaMay and giving birth, whether it related to Uncle John, whether it related to the coroner and what they were doing with Ciera's body, right? This is why the government needs to do their own investigation a little bit here, people. Because they can pull up fucking Uncle John's file and put this thing to rest, but they don't want to. No. Because they're too busy capitalizing off of the death of old people. God forbid if they want to rock that boat. No, they don't, people. They don't. I don't get no attention from all these so-called independent reporters in British Columbia, Canada, right? You know, Liberty News, Laura Lynn, Rebel News, freaking Press for Truth, all these popular, let's get out there and be freedom fighters and justice warriors and all these kind of people that like to put themselves up on the internet, right? Not one people has touched what's happened to my family with the 10-foot pole. Why? Why, people? Why? Maybe you probably never thought about it, but I ask myself, why? What? Because I'm rambling? I'm rambling with issues that are like very detrimental to society? I'm thinking it's that Legion, right? Because there's little cues in their videos that sometimes just stand out and just glare at you in terms of what side they're really on in terms of controlled opposition. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I just know that, I don't get too much support, which tells me that those people basically condone what the government does. So therefore, anything that they have to say when they go out and do their freedom rallies is kind of null and void. Because if you're not going to stick your neck out for illegal organ harvesting and the pillaging of bodies for profit, or the medical kidnapping of the elderly for profit, right? And the purposeful injury of children for profit, then how could you possibly go out there and act like you actually care when it comes to freedom? But it's not about them. Prepare a list of documents in Form 22 that lists all documents that are or have been in the party's possession or control that could, if available, be used by any party at trial to prove or disprove a material fact. And those videos of ShaMay where, I'm being told ShaMay doesn't have a bruise on her head when I'm doing the video through exposure and can clearly show that she had a bruise on her head. Now, whether that bruise came from them pulling down her skin off her skull so that they could take out her brain and then pull their skin back and somehow something happened where that bruise was there, or whether it was Julian that came and fucking whacked her before he hot capped her, like really hot capped her, I don't know. I just know that the bruise is there. And the hospital staff ignored it. And the cops ignored it. And the government is ignoring it. But the document is online. And if I have to, I'll go in and I'll do it again. Because pictures don't lie. Just like with her face falling off, people. With that orifice plug in her mouth, people. The only time somebody's going to use an orifice plug is when they embalm a dead body. Oh, that's rambling, right? Even though I can show you the freaking video on that one. Better yet, I can make a new video with the same picture and make it more poignant where you can actually, there's no denying it, people. But I'm rambling, I'm scandalous, and I'm embarrassing. I'm embarrassing myself. Yeah, okay. That's what they'd like me to think. what is good is bad and what is bad is good. All other documents to which the party intends to refer a trial, and B, serve the list on all parties of record. Two pages. That's it. And I don't know what to do. I don't remember. I have to dispute this. I'm not signing anything. I'm not signing anything. That's like that young teenager, 14 years old, being told to sign here. Being coerced to do something that maybe they don't necessarily understand what they're doing. Or maybe being coerced to do something that they don't necessarily agree with because there's so much peer pressure around them and they just want to fit in or, not be, bullied. When I was with Uncle John with Fraser Health the first time around, I was standing there and the Fraser Health Authority, lawyer, whatever was there, and judge said something and they wanted me to sign a paper right then and there. And I'm like, okay, where do I sign? That woman, she pointed her finger. She said, sign right here. I said, okay. So I signed it. And then it turned out I signed it in the wrong spot. That's where the judge was supposed to sign. So I went to go do something at the library, and that woman followed me into the library with a new piece of paper and had me sign that piece of paper in the library, people, to correct the mistake that they made. But I bet you that's not in that file anymore. I bet you that's gone. Right? Because they do what they want. Because they can simply call you scandalous, fictitious, and frivolous, and that you're an embarrassment to yourself and to your family and to society. So, I'm going to have to make an appointment with the library and figure out how to get their ass into court. Right? That's it. And if I have to, people, I'll file another one for Ciera. I will. If they don't start looking into these files. They have to, people. They have to. Otherwise, we're all sitting ducks. Okay? Anyone below that, caste system, right? We're all sitting ducks. And anyone above, right? Well, the bigger the fish, the bigger the reward. Right? Maybe they don't get affected as much as we do below that income, right? Even though the government's putting in $1.5 billion to help families. Well, obviously, my family is not included in that, right? The money that the government saved off of Uncle John canceling his superannuation life insurance policy, out of courtesy, the government should at least follow up on what their employees did to him, okay? He paid for that, for them to be able to even do this, people, with his forfeiting on that superannuation life insurance policy. He saved the government $250,000, $300,000, $400,000 by not taking that life insurance policy, okay? And this is how the government repays him.